from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening. Welcome to the National News broadcast coming to you live from the National News Studios here at Urumaya. I'm Kasani Balachandra Adhikari.
A very good evening indeed. I'm Charita Binipurarache, and let's move on to the headlines for tonight's news.
Urumaya National Program commences. 2 million families receive freehold deeds for their lands. Stern actions will be taken against the traders who sell low-quality bread. A preschool child in Gampala was killed by the falling of a tree. 99% of the Umay project has been completed. The opposition leader says that President's House and temple trees will be transformed into English language universities under his rule. Wildfires in Chile claimed 112 lives. Sri Lanka marks a 10-wicket test win against Afghanistan. Sri Lanka becomes the first country that defeated all test countries.
On to those stories in detail now. The Consumer Affairs Authority says that raids will be carried out island-wide from today to nab the traders who sell low-quality bread.
The raids will be conducted in pursuant to a gazette notification issued by the government.
According to the Gazette notification issued on Friday, quality standards of a loaf of bread and standards of a trade stall that sell bread have been declared. Accordingly, a quality weighing machine licensed under the National Standard Institute for the year 2024 must be there in such a shop. The trader must show the weight of loaf of bread to the consumer. Accordingly, there should be 450 grams in a loaf of bread, while half of a loaf is 225 grams. According to the new rules, price of bread should be displayed in each shop. Director of Special Raids and Investigation Unit of the Consumer Affairs Authority, Sanjay Veerasinghe, said that raids will be carried out from today. The traders should abide by the rules declared by the Gazette notification. It is the right of the consumers to measure a loaf of bread when purchasing. If there is no weighing machine at a shop, the consumers can inform it to the Consumer Affairs Authority by dialing the hotline 1977.
The Urumaya National Program that vests right of freehold deeds for 2 million families commences today under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The opening ceremony was held at the Rangiridambula International Cricket Stadium this evening. Blocks of lands have been given to people since the colonial era under numerous license and permit systems. Later, land deeds were distributed among people under farming colony movement and Mahavali movement. There are land titles under the name of Swarnabhumi, Jayabhumi and Isurabhumi. These landholders so far had a right of paper of a temporary license to claim the ownership of their lands. Accordingly, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has implemented his program titled Urumaya to grant freehold title deeds to all these temporary landholders. The government had allocated 2 billion rupees from this budget. A national operational secretariat has also been established to solve these problems arising in the process of preparing freehold deeds for them. This program is carried out under the Ministry of Tourism and Lands.
උද්ඝෝෂණයක් චෝදනාවක් නැතුව කරන්න ලැබිලා නැහැ. මේ ඓතිහාසික කටයුත්තට hina වෙන චෝදනා කරන ඉරිසක් ඉන්නවා. මම පුංචි සන්දි මීට වසර 30කට විතර කලින් දඹුල්ලේ වෙච්ච ලොකුම විරෝධය ඇති උනේ අණ්ඩලම හෝටලේ ඉදි කරද්දී. අණ්ඩලම හෝටලේ ඉදි කරපු දවසට අණ්ඩලම වැවෙන් වතුර අරගෙන ඉවරයි කිව්වා. වැව හිඳෙනවා කිව්වා. ගොවිතැන් කරලා ඉවරයි කිව්වා. අද වගේම එදා ප්‍රදේශයේ සිටින ජනතාවගේ ගරුතර මහා සංඝරත්නයේ ඔලු අවුල් කරා සත්‍ය විකෘති කරා පෙළපාලි ගියා උද්ඝෝෂණ කරා අවුරුදු 30කට කලිනුත් අද වගේම තමයි අවුරුදු 30කට පස්සේ හෝටලය ඉදි කරලා වැව තාම තියෙනවා වැවෙන් වතුර අරන් ගොවිතැන් කරනවා ඒ වගේම එදා ගමේ උද්ඝෝෂණයට නායකත්වයේ දීපු නායකයාගේ දරුවා වැඩ කරන්නේ කණ්ඩලම හෝටලේ කියන එක මම මේ වෙලාවේ මතක් කරනවා
Minister Harin Fernando said that he resembles all former ministers of land in this juncture. He specifically thanked former Minister Kayantha Karunatilaka for submitting a cabinet paper in this connection to the government in 2015. However, it has become fruitful under the leadership of President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Therefore, today can be considered as a historic date. This is the only occasion since the independence that a large group of people receive freehold deeds for their lands.
සහනාධාර දෙන නායකයෙක් නෙමෙයි. නමුත් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා අද දෙන්නේ සහනාධාර වෙනුවට ජීවිතයට උස්ම.
Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena said that Sri Lanka's self-sufficient economic system was collapsed after the colonization in the country. Since the independence, a large sum of people, 2 million people, are having freehold deeds for their blocks of lands. Therefore, people must thank the President and the Minister of Lands and all other officials who contributed to make this program a success.
යලිත් ලක්ෂ 20ක ජනතාවට පරිවර්තනය කරන මොහොත නැති වුණු උරුමය යලිත් ලබා දීමයි.
උත්සව සභාව ඇමතු ජනාධිපති රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා
Addressing the gathering, President Ranil Wickremesinghe says that this is a historic occasion. President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that this is a revolutionary occasion as the government has been able to provide the right of lands for about 2 million people. From today on, the struggle they carried out to get a freehold deed for their land is over. The people who receive the right of land are not under obligation to any person. Hereafter, no need to meet any government official to get their rights of lands. Now the people who receive the title deeds are able to develop their blocks of lands according to their needs. Our government is brave enough to complete this serious task.
පක්ෂ නැති අය හිටිය අපි කොටසක් ආණ්ඩුවේ හැදුවා හැම පක්ෂයම කොටසක් කැඩිලා එතනින් මේ ප්‍රශ්නෙට අපි මුහුණ රට කොහොමද ගොඩ ගන්න කියලා අගමැතිතුමා මේ ඇමතිවරු මේ වැඩ කටයුතු කරා අපි දැන් ටිකෙන් ටික ගොඩේ ඒ ජනතාව දුක් විඳා ඒක මම පිළිගන්නවා තාමත් සමහරු දුක් විඳිනවා අපිට පුළුවන් විදියට අපි සහනයක් දුන්නා අපි මේ යන ගමන හරියට යනවා අවුරුදු 4කින් පස්සේ අපේ ආර්ථිකය මේ සැරේ වර්ධනය වෙනවා ධනවත් විනවස් වෙන්නේ නෙමෙයි 2.5ක් අල්ලන්න පුළුවන් 20 25 105ක් අල්ලගෙන අනේක අපි මෙතන කළා තියෙනවා. අපි ඔක්කොම එකතු වෙලා මේ වැඩේ කරා. අපි එකතුනේ රට බේරා ගන්න. පක්ෂ දිහා බැලුවේ. පක්ෂ දිහා බැලුවා නම් මේක වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අපි එකතු වෙලා ලක්ෂ 20කට දැන් මේ අයිතිය දීලා තියෙනවා. තව ලක්ෂ 20කට ඇස්සතුම දීලා තියෙනවා. ලක්ෂ 15කට පඩි වැඩි කරලා තියෙනවා. සංචාරක ව්‍යාපාරේ දියුණු කළා ආදායම් මාර්ග ඇති කරලා තියෙනවා. මේක අපිට කණ්ඩායමක් හැටියට කොටසක් හැටියට කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ හිතන්න පාර්ලිමේන්තුව එකතු වුණොත් මොකක්ද අපිට කරන්න බැරි කියලා. අපි මේ ගමන යන්න ඕනේ. මේ මාර්ගය යන්න ඕනේ. අපි ආපහු ණය වෙන්න බෑ. අපිට ආපහු හිඟන જાතියක් වෙන්න බෑ. අපිට අපේ අභිමානය ආරක්ෂා කරලා යන්න ඕනේ. එහෙනම් අපි එකතු වෙලා මේ ගමන යමු. ඔබ සියලු දෙනාටම අද කියනවා. තවත් ඉන්න ඔක්කොමටම කියනවා මේ අයට උරුමයට. අද ඔබ අයිතිකාරයෝ. බය වෙන්න එපා. තමන් අයිතිකාරයෝ කියලා ආඩම්බරයෙන් වැඩ කරන්න කියලා ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා.
The President and ruling and opposition party politicians participated in the ceremony to offer freehold deeds symbolically.
ආරක්ෂක රාජ්‍ය අමාත්‍යතුමන්ගේ සහ හිටපු ඉඩම් අමාත්‍ය කයන්ත කරුණාතිලක මහතාගේ සහභාගීත්වය තුළ මේ වේදිකාව
A preschool child was killed by the falling of a tree in an international school in Gampola today. The accident occurred while a group of students were playing. 2 more preschool students were injured in the incident and were hospitalized. This unfortunate incident occurred during the lunch interval. About 30 students of a class were playing at the preschool compound. Due to heavy winds prevailing at that time, a huge tree fell onto the compound, causing injuries to the children. The injured children were admitted to Gampola and Kandy hospitals. The victim has been identified as a 5-year-old Mohammed Sain Azvi, a resident of Illavatura in Gampola. Condition of another injured student is reported to be serious.
And meanwhile, Ministry of Irrigation says that 99% of the construction of Umay Multipurpose Development Scheme have been completed at present.
This project costs $514 million. Umay Multipurpose Development Scheme was launched in 2010 as a hydropower generation and irrigation dual project. The constructions were carried out jointly with the help of local engineers and engineers of Farab Company in Iran. A dam has been constructed across Dulgul area. The water accumulated in this place is transferred to the reservoir through a 3.9-kilometer tunnel. This reservoir has been constructed in Mathotilla, blocking the Mathotilla oya. The water in this reservoir is taken through a 620-meter vertical tunnel to the power station to activate two turbines which are set up 720 meters underground. This power station has a capacity of 120 megawatts. It has already been connected with the national grid, adding 60 megawatt at present. The power generated in this station is transmitted to Badulla substation grid through a 22-kilometer power line crossing a very difficult mountainous area. The water released by the power station is taken to Alikotara reservoir open channels. From there, the water is diverted to Handapanagala and Kudaya reservoirs. The water from the Umay project nurtures many irrigational tanks and reservoirs in the Munragala and Hambantota districts. This water is sufficient to cultivate 4,500 hectares of these two districts in both cultivating seasons. In addition, water can be supplied to 1,500 hectares of ancient paddy lands in some remote areas in the two districts. This multipurpose project also provides drinking water for Bandaravilla, Badulla and Munragal areas. A volume of 30 million cubic meters of pure drinking water is supplied to these areas annually.
Farab Company is the EPC contractor of this mega project. We start the project since 2010. You know, in this project we faced with a lot of challenges, but finally we are in the last stage, and we hope that by end of February we synchronize both units to the national grid, and by end of March we complete all the items of the project, and we will hand over this project to the employer. And this will not be happen that as a work team that we worked with the employer together, and we achieved to this goal. You know that in the peak time, 1,800 people worked in this mega project, approximately 400 people from Iran and the others from the local people, and the other from the other countries. But now we are, you know, that there is not too much job, and only we are doing the commissioning work. We are 70 people now, that 70 people from Iran and 300 from Sri Lankan and foreigner. Now we are working this project.
Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that President's House and the temple trees will be transformed into English language universities under his rule in future. He made these comments addressing a ceremony held at Notchiagama in Anuradhapura today. This ceremony was held to donate a smart classroom to the Vidyartha Mahavidyalaya at Pahala Maragahayaweva in Notchiagama. This is the 86th event under the Sakpala program implemented by Sajith Premadasa. 5 computers, a smart screen and 5 printers worth about 1 million rupees were donated to the school children. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa said that we serve our maximum to the children of this country even without ruling the power.
Leader of the National People's Power, Urumaya Dissanayake, who is now on a 4-day visit to India, met Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar. This meeting was held this morning at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in India. The two parties had lengthy discussions on the future of Sri Lanka's politics and the current economic and political situation. Attention was also focused to enhance mutual cooperation between the two countries. General Secretary of the National People's Power, Dr. Nihala Besinga, and National Executive members, Professor Anil Jayant and Vijay Herath, also took part in this meeting. Meanwhile, leader of the National People's Power Andrukumara Dissanayake met the National Security Advisor of the Indian government Ajit Doval this evening at the Sardar Patel Bhavan. They focused attention to the regional security and the bilateral relations between India and Sri Lanka. Parliamentarian Vijitha Herath was also present at this discussion. The Agrarian Development Department says that a sum of 960 million rupees has been distributed amongst farmers at present for the paddy cultivation in Maha season. Accordingly, 93% of the entire farmer population has been provided with money to purchase fertilizer. A sum of 450 million rupees more are to be credited to farmers' accounts today. The government has decided to provide money to 1.2 million farmers and 15,000 rupees per hectare for each farmer. About 7% of the entire paddy lands were damaged due to heavy rains prevailing in the past few weeks. Commissioner General of Agrarian Development Department H.L. Abhiratna said that money is yet to be paid to the farmers in the Badal and Nuwara districts. As the paddy cultivation of the Maha season, the government spends about 10 billion rupees for the entire paddy cultivation of the Maha season in the country. The government has decided to directly credit the money to the accounts of farmers as a measure to prevent frauds and malpractices. Crediting money to the accounts of farmers will be completed within the period of the next 2 weeks.
President Ranil Wickremesinghe wasted no time in fulfilling his promise to the students of Buduruvagala College in Bonaragala, presenting a significant collection of musical instruments at the school on February 9th. The students made this request on November 3rd when President Ranil Wickremesinghe's helicopter had to make an emergency landing at Buduruvagala Mahavidyalaya Stadium in Monaragala due to adverse weather conditions. Both students and teachers were filled with joy upon realizing that the unexpected visitor in their school was none other than the President of the country. During this unexpected visit, they seized the opportunity to engage in a friendly conversation with President Ranil Wickremesinghe as they approached the helicopter. The President inquired about any shortcomings in both the school and the surrounding area. They informed the President about the necessity of musical instruments in the school. In response, President Ranil Wickremesinghe committed to fulfilling the request directed to the relevant officials to address the matter promptly.
And here's a few more local news items in brief. A discussion was held at the Sirikota party headquarters with regards to extending support to the UNP candidate at the upcoming presidential election. The meeting was held under the patronage of General Secretary of the UNP Palitaranga Bandara, Chairman of the World Buddhist Congress Sudat Devapura, and many others were present at this occasion. Sudat Devapura said that some have requested him to contest in the next presidential election. He added that if Ranil Wickremesinghe contests the election, he will support him without contesting. The case filed against former parliamentarian Hirunika Premachandra was resummoned before the Colombo Magistrates Court today. Hirunika Premachandra is under the accusation of abducting a youth from a shop in Dematagoda in 2015 and threatening him. Further consideration of the case was postponed until the 3rd of next month. Colombo High Court issued summons to businessman Sithum Jayasinghe and parliamentarian Udayagamman Pilla to appear before courts today regarding the case of preparing a fake power of attorney and misusing 20 million rupees belonging to an Australian businessman. The case was summoned before the High Court Judge Namal Balalle. Foreign news on the other side of this break.
Parisukku Parisun.
Welcome back with international news and the update about the Chile wildfires. The foreign media reports that at least 112 people have been killed by forest fires in Chile. Chile's President Gabriel Boric declared a state of emergency and said he would make all necessary resources available to tackle the situation. It is believed to be the Chile's deadliest forest fire on record, and many of those affected were visiting the coastal region during the summer holidays. A health alert was put in place in Valparaiso by the Health Ministry. The ministry called for the suspension of elective surgeries and authorized temporary field hospitals to be set up. Medicine students during the end of their studies will be hired to help ease the pressures on the health services. The ministry announced in the same statement the rescue services have been struggled to reach the most badly affected areas, and Interior Minister Carolina Toho said the death toll should reach much higher figures in the coming hours. And NASA has discovered a super Earth that may be habitated and is only 137 light years away. The planet is roughly 1.5 times bigger than Earth and completes a full orbit or 1 year in just 19 days. NASA revealed more promisingly the space rock has a conservative habitat zone around its permanent star, meaning it may form liquid water on its surface, which would be vital to support life forms. A second smaller planet might be naming the measures only slightly bigger than the Earth, and it too might. NASA reported saying that planet might be marking its appearance and just the right time. Planet named as TOI 715b circles a red dwarf which is smaller and cooler than the Sun. They are known for being the best bet for finding habitable planets. NASA said these planets make far closer orbits than those around stars like our Sun.
And in your sports news tonight, Sri Lanka won the test match against Afghanistan by 10 wickets. This is the first test ever played between the two countries.
The match was played at the SSC grounds in Colombo. Afghanistan scored 198 runs for the first innings and Sri Lanka replied with 439 runs in the first innings. At the start of the play of the fourth day today, Afghanistan were 199 runs for loss of 1 wicket. Afghanistan scored 296 runs for the second innings. Ibrahim Sadran scored 114 runs and Rahmat Shah scored 54 runs. Prabhat Jayasuriya claimed 5 wickets and Asit Fernando claimed 3 wickets. In the second innings, Sri Lanka had a target of 56 runs for victory and they passed the victory target without losing their wickets. Prabhat Jayasuriya was named as the man of the match, and the 3-match ODI series between the two countries will begin on the 9th of this month, and all these matches is scheduled to be played in Pallekele International Cricket Stadium. India won the second test against England played in Visakhapatnam by 106 runs. India scored 396 runs for the first innings and England 253 runs in the first innings. India scored 255 runs for the second innings and accordingly England were given a victory target of 399 runs. However, they could score only 292 runs all out in the second innings.
And with that, we wind up tonight's English news on Rupavahini. We'll see you tomorrow at the very same time. Good night.
Good night.